Despite having a heartbreak of a hunt on day 2, I was actually really confident going into the rest of this trip. Day 1, I knew I had picked out the exact tree I needed to be at in order to have an opportunity to shoot her. I couldn't sit this tree because of the wind, but I watched a shooter cross right within range of it, and that gave me confidence. Day 2, I had gone from watching a bedded buck at 1.1 miles away to within 25 yards of him when he had no clue I was there. If I was just a couple degrees different in my line of sight, I would have shot this buck laying in his bed. All these things gave me really good confidence going into day 3. But when I rolled into day 3 to glass that same field I had seen multiple shooters in the day before, there was a lone cow in it, and I saw barely any deer at all. From what the other guys were seeing on the damage that the cows were doing, I knew this was going to be bad for the deer showing up in that field. Moving forward into the afternoon, I used aerial imagery to do some e-scouting and tried to get on a spot that looked very good off of the map. I found that all the mapping applications in this area were around 3 to 4 years old, so a lot of the cover that looked like young bedding cover was much more thick and much more grown up, and the deer were using it far less.
There's no shot.
Day 4, I had finally gotten the wind that I wanted in order to glass a bedding area that looked excellent compared to what I had seen last year. Right when I got up on the knob and settled to glass this area, my spotting scope, when I took it out of the bag, I could hear the lens rattling loose in it. My spotting scope had broken.
I'd really like to throw this thing as far as I can.
I was starting to feel really discouraged. I moved on to day 4 in the afternoon, and I went to a really far bedding area using a kayak to access deep within. When I got up into my tree, it looked amazing. It looked like everything I was hoping for in a willow bedding area. And then I didn't see a single buck. I was beginning to think I had this a lot less figured out than I initially thought. With my equipment breaking and things slowly wearing me down, my confidence was getting ruined, and I was focusing a lot more on the things that were out of my control and the things that were putting me down than the things I could be encouraged about. Day 5 rolled around, and my good friend Ryan Carpenter was kind enough to let me borrow his spotting scope. I went back to the field in hopes that the cow was gone, but as the sun came up, I saw him standing there again. I knew that eventually this cow was going to work off, or the deer were going to come to the field, or they were going to be comfortable in that area. So I just put in my time and sat longer and longer and longer, hoping to just catch one mature buck slipping back into or back out of that field on his way to bed. In the back of my mind, the clock was ticking down faster and faster. I was starting to get really discouraged by all the things that were bringing me down, but I knew that I needed to keep pushing on and keep fighting forward if I was going to succeed on this trip.
I just ran across the field to go to bedding. Part of me is really tempted to do a spot and stalk and, not even knock an arrow for those 2 little bucks there that are like 300 yards in front of me, those cattails, but really don't need to. Do I just see another deer every time I start backing up? I don't know if I should race down there or not. I'm really tempted to work up to that bush real quick. I think I might do that while he's rubbing his velvet off if I can get my stuff together. I'm getting the GoPro on right now. This is a huge buck. This is it. Let's do this. Come on. Come on, baby.
I peered through the grass, using the focus on my binoculars to illuminate the cover in front of me.
Gotcha.
I realized that this buck was circling downwind, and I needed to get off of this little mound quickly, use it as cover, and circle back downwind of him so I wouldn't get busted. I was now within 150 yards of this buck. I knew that I needed to move as quickly as possible, so I took off my boots and threw them by the nearest landmark. From where I sit right now, this buck is just 45 yards away, laying down in his bed. No idea that I'm here. I sit back, replace my GoPro battery, and get ready to wait all day long for this buck to stand up and offer me a shot. As I wait, I think of all the work it took me to get here. The countless mild walks and blisters bleeding over my feet. I think of all the practice I put in shooting to make sure that a 45-yard shot was a layup for me. I think of all the missed opportunities. I think of all the easy paths I didn't take and all the ones that I chose that led me to this very spot on this very buck. I'm nervous, but I know I'm ready. Out of the blue, the buck sprang up and ran in a slight angle toward me. I moved my hand up quickly to turn on my GoPro. The buck saw my movement and skidded to a halt. I returned my hand to my riser, and that's when the video starts. I had just settled my pin on his vitals when he started to move again.
I don't know what happened. The wind must have swirled. I don't even know why I shot. That was stupid. I went to hit record on my GoPro. He saw me move to do that and then stopped for a second and then took off. Oh my God, I hate self-filming so much sometimes. I could have just drawn and nailed him. Shouldn't have freaking shot there either. Sometimes I really, really hate self-filming. And this is definitely one of those times.
It wasn't until I returned to camp and reviewed the footage from the camera on the hill that I found out just why this buck spooked. Here you can see the buck and I travel off a frame. At this point, the side-by-side is around 135 yards from this bedded buck. With the time synced up from this clip to my GoPro, I could see that just 4 seconds later, this buck sprang up and ran toward me. After this hunt was ruined, I was feeling absolutely crushed. I was trying to figure out just what I had done wrong to screw this one up. I was regretting taking such a stupid shot and regretted hitting record before drawing my bow. It wasn't long after I finished pulling most of the cactus out of my feet and shins that I saw a man with a dog walking up to my camera gear on the hill. I waved him down and saw it was a bird hunter. I told him what had just happened, and he said to me, "Man, I've been hunting here for 30 years and I've never seen a deer hunter back this far." I laughed and told him I get that a lot. He offered to stay out of the area I was hunting, but I had seen a grouse by the field earlier, and it was public land, and I just wanted to get over myself and the failures I had and help him. So I offered to be another bird dog for him and try to record him shooting something.
I didn't want to screw up your hunt, so...
Oh, that's okay.
That patch of cattails right there is where the deer were.
Oh, really? Right here?
And then just on the right tip of it was where that grouse was sitting. So I don't care if we push those deer, but if you want, we could try to jump that grouse. And
it didn't fly?
No, it was just chilling there, and I didn't look at it very long because I saw that thing, but it might be a good quick one. I've never spot and stalked a grouse before, but
we can let Stormy punch through there.
Oh yeah. Are you okay if I record some of our walking down there?
I don't care.
Okay, cool.
The man's name was Chris Hockett. He was wearing a blue shirt, which I thought was kind of odd for a bird hunter. It had a graphic of a guy in a wheelchair with a fishing rod on it. I asked him what the deal with the shirt was, and he explained to me that it was his son, Ty. At 17 years old, Ty was in a rollover crash that caused him to be paralyzed from the waist down with limited function in his hands. And almost every single day, Ty finds a way to get out in his wheelchair and go hunt or fish. Chris said my drive and passion reminded him a bit of his son, and that it was good to see young guys still getting out and enjoying the outdoors. I silently teared up as I listened to this story, not only out of sympathy for Ty and Chris, but out of regret for the foolishness I had to take the many gifts I had for granted. To be hung up on the outcome of a hunt when the blessing was truly the chase that I got to partake in. I walked and talked with him for nearly 2 miles as we returned back to the road. We didn't flush a dang thing, but I learned a lot about life and what I have to be thankful for. I sat in the truck in silence thinking of what had just happened. I met a 60-something-year-old man in 90-something degree heat on a hill miles back on public land just minutes after I had the most disappointing hunt of my life. Chris's story taught me that even in failure, there's so much to be thankful for. I honestly feel like Chris was an angel sent to me by God in that moment to give me some perspective and teach me a lesson. I hope that the stories we exchanged somehow help Chris in his life as well. I'll leave a link to a mini documentary about Ty Hockett in the description. Please give it a watch and thank someone who got you into hunting. Being able to get out in the outdoors is truly a blessing that we should never take for granted.